Welcome to FAB Conversations. I am Sonu Bhasin, and FAB is Families and Business. This is a podcast where we have conversations about business people, and of course, about family businesses. Before I start my conversation, as always, I do urge you to subscribe to my podcast. The conversations are very interesting, even though I say it myself. And do subscribe. If you like the conversation, press the like button. Also, share it with people who you think will enjoy the conversations. So, to my guest today, Sunil D'Souza is a man who looks totally at peace with the world. He has that Zen like calmness around him. But don't get fooled by all that mild and gentle manner. Sunil is a man with a razor sharp mind that works all the time at a furious pace. It's only that the people around him are oblivious to it. Now, Sunil is an engineer MBA and has worked for the better part of his corporate life with multinationals, blue chip, all of them. Siemens, Levers, Coca Cola, Pepsi, Whirlpool. And now he works with the blue chipest of the Indian multinational, the Tata Group. He's the managing director of Tata Consumer Products, a leading FMCG company that has household brands like Tata Tea, Tata Salt, 8 O'Clock Coffee, Tata Sampann, Himalayan Water. I think Starbucks is also part of it, and much more. Now, with so much on his plate, and no pun intended, he has taken time out for my podcast. And thank you, Sunil, for this, and looking forward to our conversation today. And I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, thanks, Sonu. It's always a pleasure talking to you and happy to be part of the podcast.
Great, great. So, Sunil, you've worked all through in multinationals, right? And now you're with an Indian multinational. Has your leadership style evolved from one part of your career to now?
So, Sonu, leadership style has evolved, but I don't think it is for moving from one organization to the other, right?
No,
Uh,
no,
for,
one mindset to another. Multinational to an Indian company.
no, if anything, I think it's evolved for the better because,
Okay.
like I say, the big thing about the Tata Group is it brings in all the ethics and professionalism that I've been used to in various organizations that I worked through across my career.
Yeah.
Plus the decision making of an Indian entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I mean, from that perspective, the leadership style has evolved
Hmm.
because, with all due respect, across many multinationals, there is this what I call dirty word called alignment, right? So you've got to get people across time zones, across geographies, sell them the idea,
Hmm.
even for committing small amounts of capital or resources.
Hmm.
Whereas here, you have to be convinced yourself. You've
Hmm.
got to have very strong logic. If
Hmm.
you do so, then the chairman of the Tata Group is very, very logical. The beauty is there is no grays. It's all
Hmm.
black and white,
Yeah.
all logical. There's no maybes.
Hmm.
It's a yes or no, but you've got to
Hmm.
be convinced about it, and you've
Hmm.
got to have thought it through both from a strategy and execution perspective. And once you walk him through it, then it's all yours to run with. There's no one else to blame.
Right.
You can't kick your problem upstairs.
Hmm.
So you've got to have a team of very, very capable people.
Hmm.
You've got to have the right vision as a team,
Hmm.
and then a team which can carry through your directives without your micromanagement. I think that
Right.
those pieces have
Yeah.
changed over the past few years.
Yeah. So you've been managing directors of multinationals, the India offices or the APAC offices, right? Now you are the managing director of an Indian company based out of the headquarters, and you have country heads or country managers reporting to you. So, in a sense, what you had been subjected to, you are subjecting to your country managers. How are you avoiding all the pain that you went through when you had to go up to the headquarters and seek approval, and people there don't understand, etc., etc.
No, no, so you're absolutely right, Sonu, and I'm extremely conscious of the fact that the
Yeah,
people shouldn't go through what I went through, right?
yeah,
For example, whether it's the integration of different businesses that we acquire,
yeah.
where I try and do it in double quick time, so there's no politics. because I
Right.
have seen it earlier. The more you let it as two separate businesses, don't integrate,
Yeah.
uh, it's easier from a pain perspective, but it's messy from a politics perspective.
Hmm.
Or, for example, I keep telling people, listen, every time I ask you a question and you've got to this thing, don't start making PPTs, right?
Yeah.
You can you can put down you can just write down the points,
Yeah.
right? And let's just have a frank, honest conversation.
Hmm.
Or, for example, when you have decisions to make on launching products or pricing stuff or spending stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, while there is a budget
Hmm.
and there is a financial envelope, it is also about commercial acumen, knowing what happens if you don't do it
Hmm.
very quickly. So there's no multiple rounds of scenarios and do
Hmm.
this and what if, right?
Hmm.
You sit down across the table, say
Hmm.
that, okay, these are the three possible outcomes if what
Hmm.
you do.
Hmm.
And basis that, I mean, all the people in the room take a decision.
Yeah.
And again, agree, disagree, or agree to disagree. But once you go out,
Yeah.
execute whatever we've discussed.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and the other thing is bureaucracy, right? I mean, no meeting
Tatas
for the
are
heck
the
of.
masters of bureaucracy, aren't they?
No, no, that
Of
was,
course it
I
is.
think
Come
that's
on,
history.
Sunil.
I
I
think
am
that
an
is,
ex-Tata person, so I can say it with great conviction.
let me say that's not what I have seen,
Okay.
Sim.
Yeah, I am
Like,
out of it. You are in it. So,
so, like I said, if I need a decision from my boss,
yeah.
it, our meetings last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I get the
Yeah.
most, I would say, impactful decisions there.
Right.
Or when, as a team, we need to decide. A lot of times we schedule 15 minutes meeting, send a pre-read, people
Hmm.
have read it, have a discussion
Hmm.
around the points that you think you agree or disagree,
Hmm.
take a decision and move on.
And move on.
And I would dare say that is one of the reasons why, at least at Tata Consumer, we've delivered what we've delivered in terms
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
business results.
Hmm. Hmm.
More or less, I mean, people take responsibility for the business.
Right.
Everyone is on the same vision of wanting to
Hmm.
build the premier FMCG in the country for the Tata Group.
Hmm.
Blocking and tackling on a daily basis, being agile there, knowing that you could make mistakes,
Yeah.
but you will not be penalized for those mistakes.
Yeah. 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 So, still keeping on the topic of now you dealing with multiple countries and country heads, etc. The Tata Group has a very specific culture. It's not a written down culture. It's basically you live and breathe that culture. In all your interactions with all the people who work across different countries, which country do you think, or the people in which country do you think come closest to the Tata culture?
Closest to the Tata culture would be India.
नहीं
For
नहीं नहीं
no,
India 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 is the headquarter. Anything you have so many, you have many countries reporting into you.
so other than India, I would say the closest is the UK probably.
UK.
Yeah, because the Tata Group is probably the biggest employer,
There.
private sector employer in the UK.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
everyone is very, very familiar with the Tatas,
Hmm.
whether it is Steel, whether it is TCS, whether it is JLR, whether
Hmm.
it is Tetley. I mean, these are all, I mean, daily UK English brands, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
number one. And
Yeah.
number two, historically, I think we've had very, very strong business relationships
Big.
with the UK businesses.
Hmm. Hmm.
So from that perspective, the UK comes the closest.
Hmm.
US actually, the team is very strong and imbibes the culture and the codes very well. The
Hmm.
only thing is the larger US population is not as familiar with the Tatas, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And Tata's, just as a perspective, I remember probably about 6 months back, the immigration officer asking, sir, what brings you to the UK?
US.
So I said, I'm here because I work for Tetley.
Hmm.
I thought that, he said, oh, by the way, Tetley is part of the Tatas. Tell me what's happening on the steel negotiations.
Wow.
I said, that's not where I work. I'll not comment on that. But that's how familiar the Tata
They
name
are.
is in the UK.
They are. So UK, you think, is the closest to in terms of the culture. Now, since you are part of the Tata Group now, Tata also has a great legacy of trust and basically trust. Now, in businesses, we all have to take risks. Now, how do you balance this trust with risk? In the sense that if you take a risk, sometimes there are failures, sometimes things don't go right. So, how do you balance this risk taking, A, in your own career? And also, how do you encourage your team members to take risks in businesses?
So, Sonu, I think risk taking is innate in the Tata culture, right?
Yeah,
So,
it is.
whether you look at the newer businesses of semiconductors, batteries, electronics, which the group is spawning, or the fact that even 20 years back, they did the single biggest overseas acquisitions with Tetley.
Yeah,
So risk is part of the Tata group. And I would say my message to the team is it's okay to take a risk, calculated risk,
calculated risk. Yeah.
and it is okay to fail. It's
Hmm.
okay to make honest mistakes, take
Hmm.
calculated risks and fail. The
Hmm.
important thing is, as a result, you should learn something, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I mean that's the big thing.
Hmm.
And as a team, I think we've taken enough of those risks, we failed enough of those times, but as a result, we built a stronger business. So whether it was entering businesses like just around and after COVID, the new big buzzword was alternate meat, right? So we
Alternate
also,
meat,
yeah,
plant-based meat.
plant-based meat, yeah.
Hmm.
So we did launch a product called Tata Simply Better, launched it
Great.
out.
Uh,
Uh, I thought it was a great product, but
hmm.
obviously,
Hmm.
in line with what you're seeing globally, that whole thing faded out, and
Hmm.
then we had to quietly shut shop
Hmm.
or move on.
Hmm.
Or there are enough of other products that we've launched. We in tea, we've launched teas with saffron added because we thought saffron is a
Hmm.
big thing, and
Hmm.
uh, big bang didn't work, quietly close shop and move on. But we've
Hmm.
also experimented in other areas,
Hmm.
like you said, rightly so, where it's a trust deficit category because the Tata brand name brings
Hmm.
in the magic, this thing. So dry fruits is
Hmm.
a trust deficit category, and
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
big national brand.
Yeah.
Cold press oils is a big
Hmm.
trust deficit category, no big national brand, and
Hmm.
those have been roaring successes.
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
team is encouraged to take risks,
Hmm.
calculated risks.
Hmm.
Failure is fine. In fact, the group has innovation program called Innovista,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
one of the awards out there is Dare to Fail, right?
Ah, okay.
Where so and this year we've launched it within Tata Consumer
Tata Consumer.
also,
Hmm.
saying, I mean, let's highlight the projects which have failed,
Hmm.
and whichever one we've had the best learnings,
Hmm.
we'll give them
Hmm.
an award.
Yeah. So, when you've had a career like yours spanning over several years, there have bound to be successes and there have been bound to be failures. Now, when you look back at your career, what is that, one particular success that when you think about it, it still brings a quiet satisfaction and maybe a smile to your face? And also, if you want to talk about it, any failure that was, that was a failure, but it also made you learn.
So, in terms of successes, multiple pieces, right? Being part of operationalizing the Suntory joint venture in Vietnam, right?
Hmm.
Where we were, when I first landed up in Vietnam in the year 2000, it was 100% or 97% PepsiCo owned company, which became 100% owned.
Hmm.
And in my second avatar, when I came back to run most of Southeast Asia based out of Kuala Lumpur, I
Yeah.
was responsible for operationalizing the joint venture which was just signed up, where Suntory took up 51%.
Hmm.
And the beauty is, I think that's one of the few countries in, I would say, yeah, Southeast Asia, definitely, and most of Asia, where the PepsiCo business outsells the Coke business roughly 2:1,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So that was a big success. The
Hmm.
Philippines, where we fought back the Coke Kobo, as we call it, company-owned bottling,
Yeah.
and still grew a very robust, profitable business
Hmm.
with a joint venture. with Lotte. I think that was another proud moment.
Hmm.
Uh, and Tata Consumer here, I mean,
Hmm.
creating this, as the chairman said, I mean, when we count FMCG brands in India, the
Hmm.
Tatas don't count, and that's not acceptable, right?
That's not
So
acceptable.
I do think we've changed that. We're in the top five listed FMCGs now in the
Hmm.
country.
Hmm.
So that's those are things that I mean I would count as success.
Hmm.
In terms of failure, I mean not very big these things, but early in my career I made decisions which later on I've come to regret. For example, we had to close down. One of the things was to move out of the Coke facility, which is called the Gold Spot factory in Bombay,
Bombay, huh?
and create warehouses.
Hmm.
Uh, there was a decision on a warehouse I made, which was terrible from an infrastructure perspective.
Hmm.
And the people there went through hardship for some time. But to
Hmm.
compensate that, I went to that warehouse almost every single day just to
Hmm.
be with the team and
Hmm.
go through it.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, smaller things like that.
Hmm.
Luckily, so far, no big mishap.
Yeah, let's hope it stays that way. And Sunil, actually, we talked in the earlier part of our conversation, you talked about having the right teams and giving them all the support that they need, building the right team. So, in your career, how have you identified people who you'd want to be part of your teams? And because there is I talk to a lot of young managers, I talk to a lot of young professionals, and they all want to do good, but sometimes they just don't know how to plan their career. So, people like you, when you're looking for team members who can be groomed into future leaders, what do you look for? How do you identify them?
So Sonu, one of the things which I definitely don't like in a person is a person planning their career, right? Bec-
Yeah.
Because and here I still remember one of the town halls where Indra was asked this question, saying,
Yeah.
Indra Nooyi of
Indra Nui,
PepsiCo,
yeah.
uh, how did you plan your career? And
Hmm.
I liked her answer, and that's been my principle.
Hmm.
Saying I didn't plan my career. I
Hmm.
just did the best I could in every job that I was given and every role
Hmm.
that I was given.
Hmm.
And my managers didn't have an option but to keep moving me up, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I like people with that attitude. It's not about I will plan X amount of years here and do that.
Hmm.
It's about collecting a set of experiences. It's about
Hmm.
doing different roles.
Hmm.
It's about doing what makes you happy,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then working hard and delivering results, and then rest everything falls into place.
Hmm.
When I
Hmm.
recruit people, I would rather look for, I mean, between attitude and aptitude, I first
Hmm.
look for attitude, because if you've
Attitude.
got the right
Yeah.
attitude,
Yeah.
then you will overcome all the barriers to make things work.
Hmm. Hmm.
I look for people who are self-starters,
Hmm.
don't need to be given direction, and then I
Hmm.
make sure that I give them the space to operate, because
Hmm.
then I don't micromanage.
Hmm.
I look for people who can balance strategy and execution,
Hmm.
because either specializing in only one makes an
Hmm.
issue. I look for generalists, not specialists,
Hmm. Hmm.
because generalists can move across different spheres, pick up
Hmm.
stuff.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And most importantly, people skills, right? The
Hmm.
highest IQ
Hmm. Hmm.
cannot make up for a deficient EQ, right?
EQ. Right. Hmm.
So broadly,
Yeah.
and team players.
And team players. You know what? When you're talking, it describes an average TS officer, tax officer. But in the Tatas, the TS hasn't done as well. And you started your career in Levers. And Levers is called the CEO factory. And they have a management trainee program. And I don't want you to be controversial, but can you help me understand that, what is it that differentiates between the levers management trainee program and the TAS as it's called now?
I wouldn't comment about the task
Okay,
program,
you wouldn't.
but the
But
levers
talk
program,
about levers then, huh?
I think levers program, it was a 15-month program, and I think that does phenomenal things. A
Hmm.
is it puts you in the shoes of whoever you're going to command, right? For
Hmm.
example, you actually go as a salesman.
Yeah.
You actually sell on a daily basis,
Yeah.
or you work the night shift in a factory, or
Hmm.
you actually close the books on in a branch on the monthly closing,
Hmm.
right? Or you actually run the brand on a daily basis. So
Hmm.
across different functions, you actually get down to do the lowest job, and
Hmm.
therefore later on in life, when you're trying to lead an organization, you know what the ground is all about. That's
Hmm.
number one.
Hmm.
Number two is Levers obviously has had and has a great senior management,
Hmm.
and they come down and talk to you about life tenets, management philosophies, business
Hmm. Hmm.
skills.
Hmm.
That's the second piece. The third piece, and one which probably at that point of time shaped quite a lot of the leaders, was the rural stint, where
The
for
rural stint,
yeah,
yeah.
for
What
six
was the name
weeks,
of the village?
ETA, right?
Eta village. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, ETA district, where they actually put you up in a village.
Hmm.
There's no electricity, there are
Hmm.
no roads, there's
Hmm.
no television. There's
Hmm.
potatoes for breakfast, potatoes for lunch, and potatoes for dinner, because that's what's growing in the fields. There
Fields.
are there are no restrooms, there are no bathrooms,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
I've seen untouchability, I've seen
Hmm.
gender bias,
Hmm.
I've seen lack of education.
Hmm.
And for a city bred kid who's never seen that in life, that
Hmm.
brings you down to reality of what the real India is. And I
Hmm.
think that changes your whole perspective of how to approach the Indian consumer.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
and overall, working with a set of talented individuals up and down the organization, I think that just changes your game as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, you don't want to comment on the TAS, which is fine, but I'm sure that Tata Consumer Products also has its own management trainee program. Does it?
Yeah, yeah. So we've,
You
let
have
me
it.
say, we've
Yeah, no, no.
relaunched.
So let me ask
Yeah,
my
yeah,
question. So
sure.
one issue that I have when I talk to young people who are studying in MBAs or who are just starting their careers is they don't want to do sales. They all want to graduate from MBA and go straight into strategy making decision rooms, right? Now, one of the reasons why, and it's my hypothesis that people of our generation have done well is because we had no choice but to go through the grind, go and do sales, go, beat the streets, stay out, do all of that. Today's generation doesn't want to do it. So, do you see that as a problem? How can people learn to strategize if they don't know what the ground realities are?
Absolutely right, Sonu. I think uh, we actually relaunched our management trainee program 3 years back, and it is, I would say, modeled quite a lot on the Hindustan
Levers.
Unilever
Hmm.
management trainee program.
Hmm.
And now, I mean, in those days, it used to be 4 years of sales at least,
Hmm.
2 years in one
Hmm.
territory, 2 years this thing. Now, what we have mandated is at least 2 years of sales before you move on to other roles.
And you still have people
So,
staying on because that
yeah.
is something that these young guys don't want to do. Young guys and gals just don't want to do sales.
No, so absolutely right. So now when we go out to recruit, we make it very clear that this is the program.
Hmm.
You will have to do 2 years of sales. There
Hmm.
is no option.
Hmm.
And at the end of 2 years, then you either move into brand, strategy, communications, or some other role.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, we do have attrition. So
Hmm.
I'll give you the classic example of, I think, 2 years back, and I think this epitomizes for me the generation that you talk about today.
Yeah.
Is there was a person who was, after the whatever 1 year management training
Hmm.
program was said, okay, your next posting is Hubli, and you take over as the area manager there.
Hmm.
The person went there and quit in 24 hours.
Huh.
So the question was, why did you quit? Because,
Hmm.
I don't want to do sales and I don't want to stay in a small town.
Hmm.
Said, but that is how you learn.
Hmm.
And you'll regret in life. He said, yeah, but I'll never be 25 again in my
Okay.
life, right? So, so that's the kind of attitude. But here's the thing, Sonu, I think A, we've gone very clearly on communication. We've
Hmm.
communicated to this young folks who are coming in.
Hmm.
B, as part of their management trainee program, we've also now included a 1 month executive assistant with the senior team. So
Ah.
they also
Yeah.
see that
Hmm.
after 2 years, once I
Hmm.
learn the ground rules, Maybe 10, 15, 20 years later, this is what I could be doing. So
Hmm.
that closes the picture for them in their
Yeah.
whole career thing.
Yeah.
And we explain to them that these are the way your career ladder could move,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
first 2 years is essential because then 20 years later, you know what the ground looks like, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And we've had fair bit of success after that.
Hmm. So, you talked of this guy who said, I will never be 25 again, and therefore, in the short term, I do want to enjoy life. Now, you as a managing director also have these decisions around short term versus long term because Tata is a legacy brand, it's a legacy organization, it looks 50 years ahead, 70 years ahead, etc. But you also have these quarterly results to focus on. So, how do you manage that? I mean, where is the balance between the long term? Because the Tatas are indeed very long term in their outlook, but also focus on the short term.
So Sonu, absolutely right. It's always a constant balance between short and long term. You have to deliver the short term in order to earn the right to determine your long term. That's the way
Hmm.
I would put it.
Hmm.
But essentially, every decision that we make,
Hmm.
uh, I tell my team, make it as though it's your own money, it's your own company. If
Hmm.
that were so,
Hmm.
you have to deliver the long term without, or deliver the short term without sacrificing the long term,
Long.
right?
Well, easy
And
said than done, yeah.
but there are times, for example, I'll give you a simple example, right? Last year, about this time, about July last year, the first drought in Assam happened. Last year, there were three droughts in
There was
succession.
a drought in Assam,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hmm.
So therefore, tea production fell, and
Hmm.
therefore prices of tea rose by 30%.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
there were geographies in which we were market leaders and we raised the prices. There were geographies in which we were not market leaders and
Hmm.
competition didn't raise prices.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I have explained to the board saying that we will lose competitiveness and market
Hmm.
share is important. And if we lose market share, we have a longer term problem.
Hmm.
So the board has stood behind us firmly, right?
Hmm.
Saying
Hmm.
that's perfectly fine. And guess what? I think by the end of this quarter, we will be back because this
Hmm.
year looks like a normal crop. Prices will come down and
Hmm.
therefore margins will come back. But
Hmm.
for 1 year,
Hmm.
both to the board and to the street, we kept on
Hmm.
explaining, saying it's a short term blip. We will
Hmm.
not sacrifice the longer term
Hmm.
and market share is important.
Hmm.
And guess what? I think we've come
Yeah.
out quite well for it.
Yeah, yeah. So, you had to convince your board, you had to convince your bosses. And earlier again, you talked about having the right attitude, being a self-starter for the younger lot of managers. So, if I am a young manager, I am a self-starter, I am entrepreneurial, I want to get things done, but I run into a fuddy-duddy boss who's like really difficult. How do you manage that? I mean, and again, our generation, we are very different from the younger generation. And while we may say that we like self starters, people with the right attitude, it's difficult for us to accept some of the things that they may say or they may want to do. So, if I'm a young manager, how do I deal with a difficult old fogey boss?
So a couple of things, Sonu. I mean, in Tata Consumer, I do believe we follow.
No, I don't want to talk about Tata Consumer in particular. I just want you to think back and give some advice, some gyan to people on how to deal with difficult bosses.
So in life, you'll always have that one or two difficult bosses. I think the
How do you deal
critical.
with them? I mean, do you leave because you can't deal with them?
Sometimes you do leave because that's a popular saying, right? Saying that you join companies and quit
You leave.
bosses.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
that does happen.
Hmm.
But I do think that if you believe in the vision of the corporation, whichever organization you're in, and you believe in the longer term, then bosses will come and go, right?
Hmm.
Or you will have different bosses from time to time. So it's
Hmm.
a short-term pain that you must endure, and you need to
Hmm.
figure out how to keep the boss occupied while
Hmm.
you do what you want. I mean, that is
Hmm.
also an art.
Yeah.
But I would say quite a lot of people, young people, I
Boss,
have seen
yeah.
master it.
Yeah, I like the bit about bosses come and go and, I don't want to talk about it because it's geopolitical, but yeah, India could learn well from the advice that you have just given. Okay, so last question, keeping the time bit in constraint. Which is the product that you like the most from Tata Consumer Products?
I would say Tata Salt.
That's a very Miss World kind of an answer. Politically correct.
No, so but if you were to ask me from a specific product, I would say I would struggle because I've got favorites
Every
across.
product is good.
Yeah, but the one actually which I like because it's not only from a product perspective, from a investment, uh, company investment, company resource perspective has borne out phenomenally well, is dry fruits.
Dry
Because,
fruits.
yeah, so we've
Hmm.
got Sampan dry fruits.
Hmm.
The
How are they
hypothesis which
different from the others? A dry fruit is a dry fruit.
that is exactly the reason why it's doing very well. Because the Tata Sampan dry fruits, Sonu, from a standing start 24 months back, it's now a 200 plus crore run rate product.
Hmm.
We had launched it on a trial basis online only.
Hmm.
And now we have started to list it across even on the offline portals
Hmm.
because there is so much trust deficit in
Hmm.
dry fruits. Because when you
Hmm.
walk into a store,
Hmm.
when you're told this is 50, this is 100, this is 150 for the
Hmm.
same cashews or almonds, whatever, and you don't know what is right.
Hmm.
But the Tata brand name, Tata name denotes
Gives you
trust. And
the.
the minute
Hmm.
we get into it, whether the specifications of the dry fruits, the
Hmm.
sourcing of the dry fruits, the processing of the dry fruits,
Hmm.
the pricing of the dry fruits, right?
Hmm.
All
Hmm.
of these come
Hmm.
together perfectly.
Hmm.
And that is a business which is growing 30-35%
Hmm.
consistently, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, I mean, that's one
That is
product.
that. No, so talking of dry fruits, I do buy Tata Sampan almonds, but they're all from California. Don't we have enough almonds growing in our own country?
That's the thing we don't have. I mean,
We don't have.
certain dry fruits or juices, etc., are not
Hmm.
available at scale in India. We are trying to develop locally,
Hmm.
but it's not available, right? So,
Hmm.
but we're working on it.
Okay.
The other just product, just for my, if you bear with me for 2 minutes, is
Yes.
pulses.
Pulses. Huh?
Because
Hmm.
and why do I like it? Because our specs are more stringent than what the food safety regulator
Hmm.
proposes. They say
Hmm.
12% moisture, we are 11. The
Hmm.
difference between 11 and 12% is 8% margin for me. But I would
Hmm.
still say at 11 because I
Hmm.
want to give the consumer what I promised,
Hmm.
or the number of brokens, or the
Oh, yeah.
number of impurities. And
Hmm.
the reason I like it is because I remember the Sardarji retailer in Calcutta
Hmm.
who said, I love you and I hate you for this product.
Why?
He said, why?
Huh.
He said, I hate you because you've eaten away my margin. Because earlier I used to sell loose pulses and I
Huh.
used to make a 35-40%. Today
Hmm.
I make a 10-15% just because your product is all
Hmm.
priced.
Hmm.
But I also love you because once a person takes so much sampan dal, then I don't
Hmm.
have to worry. Then
Hmm.
it is a continuous repeat of that
Hmm.
product. They don't even talk about anything else. That's the
Yeah.
kind of quality which you bring to
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah. So well done, Sunil. You've just plugged in all the brands and all the right products, and I hope everybody listening also buys into it. But yeah, since I'm a Tata consumer, I subscribe to whatever you say. And thank you very much for your time and the various pieces of gyan that you've given. And hope to see more of Tata products doing well everywhere. So thank you again.
Thank you, Sonu. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank